welcome back to Sway TV. I'm your host JJ here on Amazon Live, and I'm so excited!
We're gonna have some fun on the street.
And we love Amazon Live, and we're so excited to be part of Sway TV.
Get curious! Get curious!
Look what my little mama gets to ride!
What do we do here on Sway TV? We shop.
Yo, suit up!
Inhale. I literally just inhaled a fly. The most hilarious thing that has ever happened to me on live Amazon television.
Would you like to be Sway TV host?
Yes! Here we go. So many giveaways here at Sway TV. I'm ready to battle shop live. Yeah! This is fun. And one person's gonna win a PS5. Which one will it be?
Everyone is holding their breath.
I have our winner.
I'm so excited, I can't even stand it.
I cannot make this up.
We are awarding you with the PS5 as well.
6, 5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
Talk to all your friends and your family. Let them know about Sway TV.
Thank you for being part of our community here at Sway.
Sway TV is here to stay. Thank you, Amazon.
Thank you, Sway TV.
Shop attainment all the time.
We in the house, we having fun, we doing the thing, we swaying.
Here we go for you!
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway. Let's sway. Let's sway. Let's sway.
Let's go, let's sway, stay tuned! Woo! Hey everyone, welcome back to Sway TV. I am your host, Kimmy Seltzer, and I am bringing you live each week my show, Kimmy's Love Hub. And if you are new to the show, this is a show all about dating, relating, styling, but most of all, love. And that love starts with you, because when you love you, that's when other people do too. So let's get to it. Let's see who's here. Hello, welcome. If you know me, say hello. If you're new here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click the follow button so that you can interact with me. And I often have some amazing guests, and I have an amazing guest today, so you'll definitely want to click follow so that you can interact with us, because I like to talk to y'all, okay? I'm not gonna lie. Like, I had a show on Friday, and I actually had people call into the show asking their dating questions, and I answered them live here on Sway TV. So we have so much fun. I did a closet ambush the other day, and I ambushed somebody's closet, and I did a quick makeover, and I used the Amazon products to make her over, and she came on Friday to show her new look. So we do all kinds of really cool things. So say hello. Hey, Sharon. Sharon was one of our callers on Friday. How are you doing after you had some amazing questions around not attracting narcissists, and we kind of cracked the code a little bit. So I hope you're feeling better on that. If you are new to me, my name again is Kimmy Seltzer, and I call myself an authentic dating strategist, a confidence therapist, and I'm an image consultant. So I kind of have this holistic approach in helping people look and feel their best so they attract what they want. So I have a unique approach. You know, a lot of people work from the inside out. I actually flip the script, and I work from the outside in. Why do I do that? Well, lots of reasons, one of which has to do with my own story, because my life changed after having what I call a red dress moment, where I had come from a divorce situation, I walked out into the world, I put on a red dress, and all this magic started happening to me. But really, at the end of the day, what I'm talking about is that there is a symbiotic relationship between the outer and the inner when it comes to confidence. So I love working with people's style, their wardrobe, their first impressions, their body language, and I call all of that style intelligence. So how cool that I get to be here on Amazon Live through Sway TV and talk about dating and shopping all on one platform. I mean, it's my dream. And so I often will do shows that talk a lot about products and how to make over you and your life, right, basically. And so, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of fun things. I often bring in amazing guests. The other week I had Tim Story on, who was it was an awesome conversation and very powerful and inspirational. And today we have a really special friend guest who is going to share some gold nuggets on how to create love success by really knowing your purpose and why. And I wanna, oh, Sharon says it's going much better. I'm so glad. So in 2 days, have you cracked the narcissist code a little bit? Well, at least you have become more aware of some things that you need to do. And I think part of what we said is really sharing yourself. So if you've been doing that, I'm really proud of you. We'll kind of track your progress, and all of you who called in last time. And I'll be doing that again. The segment's called Ask Kimmy, so definitely look out for it. You have to click the follow button. Make sure you're following me so that you know what I'm up to. And you can go to my Instagram at Kimmy Seltzer, DM me, follow me. I am posting all over the place on all the shows that I have, up and coming. So anyway, going back to the topic about how creating love success for you, the common question that I have, and I offer a lot of free breakthrough calls, and what those are is that people hop on a call with me, and I like to just strategize with people how I can help them. Because I'm a therapist and I'm an image consultant and a dating strategist, I like to make a plan and hear your story on what is keeping you stuck and how to get you through those moments so that you create more success. But one of the interesting things that people ask me is they say, Kimmy, what's your success rate? How successful are you? And my answer is always a question back to, well, how are you defining success? Because success lies within each person. Some people haven't ever dated in their entire life, and they're trying to get back out there and find the love of their life, but they never dated. So their success might be just learning how to date. Another person's success, like Sharon, is to crack the narcissist code. and so for her journey and her success will be to meet guys who are not narcissists. Some people just haven't found the right person, and whatever that is, I think it's really important to get clarity on who you are and knowing your purpose so you can create more success. And that is the topic that we're going to get into today. And, I was on a call the other day, just to give you an example, of a woman who had been married for 35 years. And she called me and she says, Kim, find me a soulmate. I said, I am happy to do that, but there might be some work we need to do, in order to get that. And I asked her a simple question. I said, I understand that you haven't dated in a long time. She said, I don't even know what to do with these dating apps. I don't know how to flirt. I don't even know where to start. And I said, I totally get that. I said, but what is it that you want? What is it, what would make your love life successful? She said, well, I want to find that partner. I want to find the right guy for me and have a second chance at it. And I said, that's beautiful, and I love that goal for you, and that's a lofty goal. I said, when's the last time you dated? She said, 35 years ago, and I never really dated. I had a couple relationships. I said, what would it be like if your success story right now in the next 3 months was to get an online profile up and start dating up a storm without getting attached to the outcome and feel good while doing it? And she said, wow, I never thought about that. I guess I never really thought about what it is I want. And I said, and that's where you start, right? You don't know and you can't know where you want to go unless you're really clear on who you are and what you want. It's like being in a car and saying, oh, I just want to go somewhere fantastic, and you don't have a roadmap and you don't have an end game. You're going to spin in circles. You're going to be doing donuts, right, on the road. And so it's really important to know exactly what it is that you want and who you are. So that's why I'm bringing on my amazing guest. And not only is he amazing, but he's a dear friend. So I was really excited to bring him on. He knows a lot of cool people. And besides being my friend, I'll read his bio. And he's an author of a book that we are going to talk about today, and you can find it here on Amazon Live. His name is Corey Poirier. He's a multiple-time TEDx speaker, the founder of Blue Talks, which I had the privilege of being one of the speakers on, co-author of the Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestseller, Quit List, author of the Book of Why and How, and that's the book that we are going to talk about today, a Forbes and Entrepreneur columnist who has interviewed, check this out, more than 6,500 people. I had to up the number because he's like, Kimmy, I talked to a lot more people than you had in my original bio. And he really not only just has interviewed these people, these are the top influential people that you will be amazed to hear about. And he is going to share some of the secrets that he has learned from interviewing all these people. And he's amazing and successful himself. So I want you to meet Corey. Corey, are you there?
I am, Kimmy.
Hi. Oh my God, it's so good to have you here and fun to see you here.
Oh, thank you so much, Kim. It's so fantastic to be here. And I envy you. You got a really cool studio set up there. So
I feel so blessed and lucky here in Los Angeles, here at Sway TV, and I have an amazing producer over there, Andy, who sets us all up. But it's because that's why I love bringing people on like you, and actually being a friend too. It's really special having you here. Next time you'll be in the studio when you come back,
yes.
Right?
Yes, 100%.
You'll be right next to me. Okay, but this is the next best thing. So why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about you and what got you passionate about just, this whole notion of interviewing these top influencers and your book and all of that.
So if I talk a little about me, first and foremost, I grew up in a small, tiny little town, far from LA. In fact, whenever I was growing up, my big dream was to someday step foot on the Hollywood, Sunset Strip and see those bars that I was a fan of when I was a kid because of all my favorite bands played there. So I grew up in this small town, smallest province in Canada. And I grew up raised by a single mother, barely graduated high school. I'm giving you the real quick cliff notes. Barely graduated high school. One of my teachers gave me a 49+1 where I needed a 50 to tell you that I legit maybe even didn't graduate. I think he gave me the graduation. And so that was kind of the start of my journey. And, I definitely wasn't the guy in the class that, they wrote in the book most likely to succeed. And what changed, there's a lot of things that changed, but one of the things that changed is just what you talked about. I got obsessed with interviewing people. And so I had a newspaper when I was 18, roughly-ish, where I was interviewing local business owners. And that's when I kind of got obsessed and really psyched about the idea of learning from other people what they were doing really well and how it was different than everybody else. And then the final part to that was how can I take that and in turn share it with other people so they can learn from it. So that's it. Started with that first newspaper, and then it stopped for a while, not by choice, but I just went down a different path. And then when I went back into business for myself, let's say I think it was probably 8 to 10 years later, then I realized there's nothing stopping me from relaunching a similar publication. So I did that. I started interviewing again, and then I became more obsessed with it than I was the first time around, and it just hasn't stopped.
Yes, and it's just amazing also to see all these things that you're doing. And I just wonder, through all these interviews, this is one of the questions I have, and we'll get into many, especially about your book, but are there some key elements that you found that all these influencers had when it comes to success just overall?
So the funny part is that one of the common traits is that they all started out the same place we all started out. So a lot of times people think there's a head start somehow, or you have to have that head start. There's always anomalies. Is there situations where people had head starts? Of course. But I can give you way more examples of people that had way more struggles than we realize, and they weren't an overnight success. So first of all, the most common thing is they weren't an overnight success. But if you go into traits, Kim, and areas where they do have commonalities, I'll give you a really quick one that I wish I would have known when I started, and it was a hard one to get in my head because I grew up in a small town. But it's basically the fact that they know the importance of saying no. to most of the things that won't move the needle, so they can say yes to the few things that will move the needle. And that's even harder than it's ever been, because we have so many ways to say yes, with our phone in our hand, with our phone at home, if we still have that, with text, with email. And so what's interesting is I grew up almost being taught to say yes to everything and figured how to do it later. And then I started interviewing all these high achievers and discovered they're saying no 99% of the day, and only letting the small, tiny one get through that will make all the difference in the world. So the first thing I would share as a common trait is, even if they don't like saying no, they understand they have to say no.
Wait, I want to tie this into dating, actually. This is really a cool kind of comparison, because so many of the people that I work with have a hard time saying no. They have a hard time setting boundaries. They're people pleasers. They're worried about what other people think and say, and so that they don't show up as their authentic self. And I think what you just said is so interesting. And this is outside of dating, but I feel like it applies, because when you do know your purpose and you do love yourself and you have clarity on what it is you want, it's so much easier to say no. And you should say no, because that will get you closer to what you want. So that's really interesting that you just said that.
Yeah, it so is. And I didn't think of that twist on it. And I'll give you one more common trait that actually we can take a complete twist on how it affects relationships. And it's what the book's about, but the most common trait of the highest achievers in the world, and I won't use the word passion here. I used to use it often, so I'll switch away from the word passion, but they're living on purpose. And really that goes into finding their why. They found their why. But if we take it away from the why for a second, they're living on purpose. And I have to tell you, I've seen this from both sides of the fence. To me, there's nothing, for lack of a better word to use, there's nothing sexier than somebody who is full of energy and passion and excitement because of the fact that they know what they were called to do and they're doing it every day.
So true, so true. And it's so much more congruent when you are excited about things that are congruently something that you're excited with, not because of the other person. Because that's another thing, I call it shape-shifting. There's a lot of people who shape-shift into what, they want others to see. And I see this time and time again with dating, like a woman will be on a date with a man and she's not really clear on her purpose and what she's passionate about. I do like the word passion, but I understand it's overly used sometimes. And so she's spending so much time trying to please him and cater to what he finds pleasurable, right? That then she loses her purpose on the whole dating thing. So I love these kind of parallels, because I believe people can be high achieving in dating too, just like they are in success in business. So anyway, continue on. These are really cool.
Well, to that point, just a side benefit, and not that a person needs more of a benefit than that, to living on purpose. Again, we'll dial it back to the book, finding your why and living your why. One of the other big benefits I've noticed is, actually, I'll say a few benefits. I call it taking vitamin P every day. So P you could use for passion or purpose, but I say it's the one pill you can't buy in the store, but it's the most important pill you'll ever take, or I should say even vitamin. But the point of that is that the people that have found their purpose, they're sick less often.
Yeah.
They don't call in sick as often. They're, like I say, they have bigger smiles on their face more often. They wake up and they're excited to start the day rather than dreading the day. They typically sleep better rather, if they want to sleep. Some of them only sleep 3 hours a day because that's all they need. But they can sleep better. When they get to sleep, they sleep more soundly because they're doing what they love and they're not dreading their day. And so, I said one benefit, but it's amazing the amount of benefits you get from it. And that's why I often say it's like vitamin P. And, if you dial it to where you're at in LA, or you dial it into Hollywood, think about the Hollywood actors. They theoretically, take away things that happen to them unexpectedly, accidents or something that may happen because they have some demons, but take that off the page. Think of the stuff they go through and they still live longer. I look at a band like Motley Crue. It's a weird example, but a band like Motley Crue must have lived about 5 lives. But here they are, still in their almost 60s, and they're still running along like normal. And I believe it's because they've lived on purpose for so many years. They found the fountain of youth. And so I think there's so much more to it, but you take all of that I just said, and don't you want to be around a person that has all of those things going for them versus somebody that doesn't? I mean, that's one of the benefits of finding your why is everything works more smoothly.
Yes, and I wish there was a real pill of vitamin P that you said that we could sell here on Amazon Live. We would make we would sell out, right? Like, but to that point, there are things that can actually make you feel more passionate and purpose, and that's why I talk a lot about the styling, and we're gonna talk later about this after you, Corey. I'm gonna talk about how to find your purpose with your clothes and get a signature style. You and I have had a lot of talks on that. Anyway, one of the things that I was curious about, well, besides having those, boundaries that you were talking about and saying no, and also the passion, with that, did they find that positivity? Is that kind of what you were alluding to as well? Like when people have more passion, they're more positive, and that's what attracted more of that success?
Yeah, the more, I mean, there's no question that somebody who has more passion in their life and more purpose. And by the way, I should define passion to me is what you do and purpose is why you're doing it. So two separate things. And so passion can change. Your passion might be stand-up comedy today. Tomorrow it might be image consulting. The next day it might be speaking. I mean, it probably won't change that quickly, and it probably shouldn't. But my point is you can have multiple passions. Typically speaking, your purpose won't change as much or as often. And so there's a common P theme here if you think about it for the start of the letter.
I was just thinking that too.
Yeah, and so, but to answer your question, of course, to me, of course, there's way more positive energy in a person that has found their purpose. And I actually say, this is a side note, but it's right from the book. One of the most important things that I probably talk about in the book is writing your own personal mission statement, or I often call it a purpose statement. Yes. But if you think about it, most companies, and I'll circle back to this positivity thing in a sec, but most companies I'll say,
oh, Corey, you're freezing for some reason. Are you there? Corey's frozen. At least he looks somewhat good. I've had frozen pictures that don't look so good. Okay, stand by, everyone. Oh,
I think
are you there?
Froze up.
There you are. You're back. But you had a good picture frozen, just so you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You look like you had purpose in your pose. Oh, I found another P word, pose. Okay, go on.
Yes. So I don't know what happened there, but I'll say, so as far as finding your, the idea of finding your purpose and then, like I said, about positivity, but as far as to finish that off about the purpose statement or personal mission statement, whatever name you want to give it, I mentioned most companies like the Amazons, the Disneys, the Apples that thrive all know their mission statement. And their employees may not know the words, but for example, Disney, they know that they're creating the happiest place on earth. So they need to have people leave happy. And that's all they need to know, because then you're going to make decisions to make people happy. So my point is, they know their mission statement. We should have one and we should know it. So mine, for instance, is to donate, motivate, inspire, educate, and entertain. So I want to be the guy that does all 5 of those things with everything I do. Now, having said that, Kim, there's going to be certain times where it might not be all 5, but if it's only one of those, then I get to question why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So a couple of takeaways there. I think we all should have a personal mission statement, and I think we can use that mission statement to decide what we're spending our time on, what we're saying yes to, and what we're saying no to. And I go into that in the book, but just to finish off, because you did ask about positivity, and I don't want to jump away from that. The positivity side, yes. It's if you are living with purpose and passion, you're going to be more positive than the next person. And I'll finish that off really quick by saying that I dealt with heavy anxiety and hypochondria for 4+ years early in my career and life. And the thing that changed, the only thing that changed at all, was I got on a stand-up comedy stage one night by accident. I get sucked into getting up there. I got on a stage, I bombed horribly, but I went back the next week. And people at work started saying, did you meet someone? Because you have a little jump in your step. And this goes back to the attractiveness, I guess, of finding your purpose. Yeah. But the point of that is, that was the start of me finding my purpose. And lo and behold, may or may not surprise you, the anxiety started disappearing. The hypochondria started disappearing, because I don't believe that you can be all positive and all negative in the same body at the same time. And by me getting all that positivity coming in from finding my purpose, it started shrinking the negativity. So to circle back to your question, Kim, I believe 1,000%, it's the positive energy you now have that is super attractive. So I think I covered like 3 different things in that one answer.
I know, and I love it so much. And I actually just got chills. It's so weird. I don't think you know this, Corey, but one of the first things I do with my clients is I help them create a dating mission statement. So it's just funny that you said that. And I have like this whole like worksheet that people fill out because, to your point, I think the anxiety is sky high when people go in trying to date or find a soulmate or partner, whatever it is, when they shoot too high and they're not really clear on what they can do right now. And so I always say, and this is kind of like the example that you just stated, is if you can just be really specific and do it in a short amount of time and do it in like 3-month chunks. So it's like, what's your mission for the next 3 months? And then have those tangible kind of goals for yourself in the statement. That's going to help your anxiety go down, right? Like, it's so much more anxiety provoking to say, find me a man, versus I'm going to go online and practice flirting with 5 guys a day. Like that's something that people can achieve. And so to me, all the stuff that you're saying does add up to the success, because it's those small wins that create the bigger success and story.
Well, and if we want to prove that, again, if I use the idea of attractiveness or sexiness, if we want to prove that that's true, think about that charisma factor, that it factor that all the Hollywood stars have, that the musicians have. You know, if you think about it, what do they all have in common? So they just seem to have this radiate this thing that you're like, what's that aura or energy they have? And yet the only thing that I can say for sure they have in common is they found their purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm talking about, you think about the actors that have been in 20, 30, 40 movies. They may not like some other aspects of the Hollywood lifestyle, but I'm pretty confident that they like the acting side, and that's why they're putting up with the rest. And so I find it intriguing that we're always saying, what's that it factor that so-and-so has when they walk into a room? And I think it's because they have the confidence that I'm doing what I love. So I believe there's a real hidden gem here that people ignore.
Yes, that is so true. And I think that, you know, the charisma that you talk about, you know, I love charisma. It's the name of my podcast. It's called the Charisma Quotient. It's the formula that I use to help people, you know, create that attraction factor. And what I do love about everything that we're talking about, and especially in relation to charisma, is that it's something that's learned, right? Like, it's teachable. We're not born with charisma and all of those, you know, attractiveness. And, you know, some of us have had just maybe some experiences that help shape that along the way. And if you haven't, just to give you hope that you can create it, whether you're 16 or 85, you know, you can create that sexy charisma type of factor for yourself. So yeah, no, that's great. So are there any other like kind of commonalities that these successful people have?
Yeah, and interestingly, to that point of what you just mentioned, the cool part about this, whether you're planning to use this knowledge for dating or for business, is that, to your point, none of the 5 top qualities or top traits or habits are things you're born with. So every one of these you can learn, and that scares some people. Want the quick answer, like, oh, it's just, you just walk out the door and you do this right now. These things take work, but the great news is we all start at the same place. Money's not going to get you these things quicker. Affluence or where you were born. I mean, I shouldn't say it's not going to, but I'll say that it's not the leveler. It doesn't make it unequal. And so one of the other ones that jumps into my head that I think is probably really important in this area, plus in business, is expanding your comfort zone. So, so for example, the high achievers that I'm interviewing, Neil Donald Walsh said this great quote: "Life begins at the end of our comfort zone." And that's been my experience. Like, all the best things that have happened in my life have been when I expanded my comfort zone. And my comfort zone was tiny when I started. And I discovered most of the high achievers that I interview, it was the same thing. The only difference between them and the people with bigger comfort zones is they kept growing their comfort zone. So, you know, I've gone skydiving, yet I'm scared of heights. I've been surfing twice and I can't swim. And I got to tell you, I don't think surfing's safe if you can't swim. but I went and did it anyway. And I performed stand-up over 700 times. And I was the guy in school that would never talk in front of 10 people at once. And so why did I do these things? It's because I did these interviews and discovered that this is what the high achievers are doing. So it wasn't easy to do, but I recognized that if it's working and if it's 90% of them doing it, then maybe I need to practice that too. It was hard, but two things happened. One, it helped me get to where I was trying to get to, a more fulfilling life. And two, the journey has been even better than the destinations.
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought up the discomfort because, and I say this too all the time, it's like no one changes in a state of comfort. Like, right? Like obviously it's the things that make you uncomfortable are probably areas that you need to move into in order to create that change, and instead of fearing it, move towards it. And you just gave great examples of doing that. I got to do that about riding horses again because I got kicked off of a horse, and I got back on a donkey, but I haven't done the horse yet. So sometimes it takes like levels, right? But in relation to dating, this is so true because I have people all the time say, I'm scared to death to flirt. Oh my God, I don't even know where to start. And so I say the same thing. If you're scared of it, that means you probably need to do it because it's something that you need to learn. And basically we're scared of things that we don't have experience around, right? Like that's where the confidence lives. So that discomfort is huge. And that's interesting that all the successful people you interviewed like kind of back that up.
Yeah, and to that point, just like I said earlier about everything else, they didn't start that way in most cases. It's amazing how many people I've interviewed that have become Hall of Fame speakers, that have spoken on X amount of stages, thousands of stages, who told me over and over again, dude, I was the guy that when I first got on stage, the sweat started pouring, I passed out, all that stuff. And yet the difference is they kept doing it, or they went and did it. I will tell you one piece of advice there, because it probably relates to dating just as much.
Yeah.
Is I interviewed this Olympian one time who's now a speaker, and she said, her name's Silken Lawman, and she said, oh, I was terrified of speaking. I never wanted to be a speaker. And I'm like, whoa, like you're one of the few Olympians I know that has turned it into a career. So how did you overcome the fear? And she said, it was the day that I sat down and decided on a why that was bigger than my fear of not getting on the stage. And the why and sharing the message became more important than addressing the fear of not getting on the stage. And she said what that allowed me to do, because the why was so big and the impact was so important, I focused then on delivering for the audience and not worried about myself. And, if you think about that, that can apply to dating the same way. Like the idea that we're so caught up in the idea of what's going to happen when I walk up to this person. But the bigger question is, why are you doing that in the first place? Like, what's your reason for doing that? I'm sure it can be different for different people, but what's your reason? Why do you want that? Is it something that you feel, if I find the right person, we could help each other achieve things? And like what I'm saying is, I think it's important to know why you're doing something versus just doing it and feeling, well, if I face that rejection, I'm just going to turn and run away.
Yes. And you know what, Corey, as you're saying it, what's really interesting is that I think when you pull it back to you and knowing your purpose and why, you're also going to be more present in that moment. And that, the anxiety and discomfort and all the things that people worry about, and this is just me as a therapist talking, usually comes from, those fears that have come out of maybe, hurt in the past or past experiences, toxic relationships, whatever. Like Sharon last week was sharing that she kept attracting narcissists. So she was trying to repel them, but then in effort to repel them, she was creating a circumstance that was attracting them, right? So what often we are fearful of, we attract at the same time, and then that becomes kind of the hamster wheel that we come in. But I love that notion of just knowing that purpose and stepping into something, because that will help you also know that it's coming from you and how you feel. Like, let's say you go on a date or you go into a social event. This is about you. It's not about the other person. And when you're in that state of anxiety and worry, you're worrying too much outside yourself. So it really, what you said is so crucial to pulling in and being more present. So super cool.
If I can add two super quick things. One, remind me to circle back in a second to synchronicity. and the part it
Oh,
plays.
yes.
But I want to add really quick one more trait. It's the bonus trait I share in the book, and it relates to what you were just saying. And I think it's really crucial. Both sides of the world. I didn't realize how much synergy there was to dating to this as well.
Right.
But it's called the non-talent factor, and so other people might call it the 10,000 hour rule. We may have heard of it as under that term, but I call it the non-talent factor. And what it is I've noticed is a lot of high achievers are performing at a level they shouldn't be able to perform at based on who they started as. And so as an example, like Wayne Gretzky, I'll give you something for hockey. We'll use an example of Wayne Gretzky. Do we really know for sure? Because everybody said Wayne Gretzky just has natural talent we could never compete with. Is it that? Or is it the fact that his father, Walter, had him out playing on the ice when he was 6 years old at 6 in.the morning and doing that every day? And not forcing him to do it, but because he loved doing it. My point is, which came first? Did he already have the talent? Well, none of us seen it, or was he just falling down the ice over and over? And did those hours that he put in when all these other friends were still sleeping, is that what created the talent, or we'll say the factor that made him as big as he is? Now, do I believe that some people are born with natural talent? Yes. But the good news about this non-talent factor is you're not left in the dark if you don't have it. So I'll give you an example from my life. Is I started out playing music, and my girlfriend at the time, first time I ever sang in front of somebody after like 3 years of singing on my own, I sang in front of her and she said, "Can you do me a favor and just not do that ever again?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, you're hurting my ears." And she said, "I'm telling you that if you ever played in public, it might, be the day that I decide this probably doesn't make sense for us to be in a relationship, because that will be embarrassing to me." I mean, that she didn't use those exact words, but that was the gist of it. And the short version of that is it kind of pushed something in me. So here's a guy that's tone deaf. I was obviously tone deaf, and I still to this day can't tune a guitar by ear. So now Johnny Cash couldn't tune a guitar by ear. He did okay. But my point is I couldn't tune a guitar by ear, still can't. So obviously I didn't come naturally with this musical talent. 7 years ago, my 4th CD was nominated for Rock Recording of the Year. But here's the thing, Kim, to take from that is I wasn't born with a musical talent. Now I have a family that plays music, but they just strum 3 chords, to songs. And so there was a little bit of musical inclination, but not that talent. I started a stand-up comedy. I said I bombed. Well, guess what? I bombed for about 200 shows. Now, in comedy world, bombing means I didn't get any laughs. For about 200 shows out of 700. But I kept going back. And on. You can look at every aspect of my life. Speaking, I started out as the guy that was covered in sweat, didn't remember a word he said. And I've done 3 TEDx talks. And so the takeaway from this is I truly believe you can get better and good at, and maybe even master almost anything if you put in those hours. Now, the bad news is it means you got to put in the work. The good news is it means that you don't have to be born with the talent to become good at something. Now, that probably applies to dating because you said go with 5 what'd you call it? 5 virtual, did you say flirts or something? Flirt with 5 people a day. Why are you doing that? So you can get better at doing it.
That's exactly right. Well, and to be honest, that's why I call myself a dating strategist these days, and I got away from like the coach, because I truly believe that people just need strategies to break old patterns and habits. And how you can do that, and the only way you can do that, is to practice and do something different that is going to break that pattern, right? I mean, I know I'm sounding kind of simplistic, but it can be. I think we overcomplicate things, again, by shooting ourselves way too high. When you have clarity and you know your purpose and you know the goals that you want to achieve and they're tangible, then you can break those down and just be into practice. I gamify flirting quite a bit, like for instance, I will say, okay, forget about the whole like fear factor of flirting. Let's just start with, can you make eye contact every time you go into a grocery store with 5 men, right? Like, let's just start there. And then from there, we up the ante. Then after you get good at it, now to your point, they don't like that in the beginning because it's something they fear. But here's the thing that I find so fascinating is after a period of time and they do it and then they get positive reinforcement back, they start liking it. So like your example, Wayne Gretzky, maybe after he did it so many times, he got good at it, he got praised for it, so he got reinforced for it, so then he became more, like kind of passionate about it. So I think everything that we're talking about works together, but you have to have that mindset of that positivity and something that you really want to do. Otherwise, you're just staying the same.
Absolutely. And I did promise I'd come back to synchronicity, so I want to make sure I don't.
I was going to ask you that too. Okay, we're in sync.
There's nothing worse, because I do a lot of interviews and I interview a lot of people. There's nothing worse than when somebody says, oh, let's talk about this, and then you don't ever say it. And then they're like, well, what was he going to say? And so sometimes I put it out there to make sure I come back to it. Having said that, I want to add this one thing, and this applies, I'm going to apply it to dating. Synchronicity applies, in my opinion, to business just as much, and few people use it enough. So a lot of people think everything's a coincidence. And I'm going to give you a story to prove it's not. Really quick story. But this story relates to dating. And why I bring this up, Kim, is because there was a while that I was trying to find the person, and I was going everywhere and going to every length, like, will I meet them here? And why don't I put myself here? And once I started understanding synchronicity, and this is a harsh pill, but once I start realizing synchronicity, I believe you have to take action. The law of attraction on its own doesn't work. I think you have to take action. So first of all, I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying just sit back and let it happen. But what I'm saying is, even if you're getting that rejection, or even if it's not happening right away, it's happening for a reason. That's happening. It's happening so you can find the right person. You don't realize it, but it's sending the wrong person out of the way. And I'm going to give you a quick synchronicity story to tell you my life, how both tied together, relationship and my business. But here's an example. My girlfriend and I have been together 6 years. She says my husband, but I still say my girlfriend because we're not married. But we've been together 6 years. I feel we're perfectly aligned with each other. And when we met, it wasn't the optimal circumstances. So here's, it's really wild. I was speaking in one place, and she reached out. And I don't think you even know the story, but
I was just thinking that, yeah.
But we grew up in the same small town. We both moved away from the same small town, living in totally different places than where we grew up. In the same small town, we were great. I was a grade ahead of her. We'd say hi in school, just like nod our head. That's as much as we knew each other. And we moved to separate parts of the country. And she saw me on Facebook and saw that I was speaking a lot. And she said, are you ever speaking in my neck of the woods? And it just so happened, like 3 weeks later, I was going to be speaking near her. And so she drove 2 hours to come and see my talk, and just to say hi, and then 2 hours back. And there was nothing to it. Like, she was actually in the tail end of a marriage. Like, it wasn't necessarily working, but there was nothing. Like, we basically hugged and said, hey, nice to see you. That was it. And we didn't even stay connected like the next couple of weeks or anything. So she came up and saw my talk, and she said, I didn't know why I was drawn to do that. And so she came to see my talk, and that was it. And then she's open about this. She had been battling addiction. She's been clean for 6 years now. Just before we got together, she went through treatment, and they went through a separation, which was, I think, almost in the works anyway. And so what happened was, she had went to a new place where she was at the treatment, and they were separated at that point. And I said, I'd love to go to a sweat lodge. And she saw me post that online, and she's like, I'm running a sweat lodge. You should come visit me. And so I went to visit her at the sweat lodge, and we connected as friends, again, just friends. And I went to visit her a couple of times. To finish that story off, we ultimately decided it made sense. We got together. And why I bring that whole story up is that we were both from the same small town. She was for Canadians, she was in British Columbia. I was in Nova Scotia, and we're both from Prince Edward Island. And we got together in BC. So we got together in the other part of the world, these two people from the other part of the country. And then we drove together. We moved back home to where we were born and drove in a car together. We made our way back. We now live here. We have 2 kids together, all that kind of stuff. But here's the part that the synchronicity comes in, is I've done interviews, as you know, and as you said, for a long time. I said to her at one point, Shelley, you've never asked me to interview anybody specific. Why aren't you asking me? So she finally put together what I consider a pitiful little list of 3 people. And one of the people on that list, I'm not going to say his name because we're still working on the project, but is a really big author, 20+ million copies of his book sold. And to finish the story off, him and I built a relationship. They came out of nowhere from me reaching out because she said, here's one person I want you to interview. We're now finishing up a documentary that has the chance to change the world, like The Secret type level documentary with again, one of the biggest authors in the world. And had I not get together with her, which I just told you the weird circumstances around that, there's not a chance in the world I'd be working with him on this documentary. So imagine, now this goes back to the synchronicity, I can show you, and I skip stuff, I can show you all the links, all the dots that join up to make that whole thing work. And they had to all happen perfectly. So imagine if I tried to force my way when somebody says, no, not a fit, not interested. Imagine if I said, no, you're not understanding it. There's a reason the universe moved people out of the way. And I've went online and thanked past girlfriends and said, thank you for letting me go. Whether you let me go or whether I let you go, thank you, because you made room for this to happen. And my point of that whole story is the universe worked for me for all that to happen. And so you need to take action, but also understand when it's a no, there's a reason. I don't know if that's a fair summary. I kind of jumped on a little tangent there, but I'm passionate about the fact that meaningful coincidences are happening every minute for us.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's important to bring it up because if we don't know about them or believe in them or understand them, we can't act on them.
Not only that, if you don't look for them, you might miss it as well. And so I love your story. I think it highlights and summarizes so much of what we're talking about. Because, a lot of times people will get stuck in that victim mode, like nothing ever works. There's no good men or there's no good, women out there. And I usually say to that, I believe you. Like, I believe that that's all you see. Because if that's your belief system and you don't take the time to look for other, areas of opportunity, then you're not going to create that for yourself. And I think that really dating, much like business, is one big network. Like even if you meet somebody on the first date and you don't jive with them and you don't have the chemistry, they're not long-term partners, I say, but what can you learn from that person? Maybe there's a restaurant they mentioned that you end up, finding the love of your life that you go to, but hadn't it been that person telling you about that restaurant, you never would have gone. So I believe there's value in each and every interaction, and your story totally emphasizes that, and that's awesome. I didn't know that story either. That's cool.
Well, and just think about how you and I met.
Yes.
Right? Like we ended up at an event together, and there's only probably 4 people I'm still connected to from that whole event. You're one of them, and look at all the stuff we've done since then. And again, it could have been just as simple as me going, I'm not going to go to that event. It doesn't seem like a big event. Yes. But I decided that wasn't the case. So I love what you just said there, because even that whole point about if you think about the trail, like for me to end up with Shelly, there was, and I'm just talking out loud, but by me and somebody splitting up may have been the reason I ended up doing that talk, because it triggered something else. And if I wouldn't have done the talk, she wouldn't have asked about coming to see a talk. Like everything has to happen for the next thing to happen. And so I'd like to say about, you could go on a date with somebody and be a horrible date, and then the person could leave you, or maybe even they could go to I'm going to the bathroom and leave, and you could be like, this is the worst date ever, and then you end up getting together with the waiter.
Yeah. But you have to look for the waiter in order to create that, and that goes back to the whole mindset and positivity and passion and purpose. Because if you just give up and leave and not use that situation to your advantage, then you're just, again, staying the same and flatlining in your life, in your love life, in your business life. It all kind of works like that. And I think that the other thing that I as we're talking, the point about having each opportunity, even bad relationships too, because that's another thing I hear a lot of regret that people have. It's oh, why was I in that relationship? Why did I waste all that time? Why didn't I learn this when I was younger? I mean, this could be both for love and business, right? And I invite all of you listening, and exactly what Corey is saying, to flip that script and to say, well, the why, flip that why around. Why not? Thank God it happened. If it didn't happen, then I wouldn't have learned this. Each and every experience is an experience. It's not rejection. It's not failure. It's experience. And you learn from that. So I think it's just beautiful. And you just highlighted all of that.
Well, to bring it full circle, I mentioned doing the stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And when I decided for I'm going to say a 2-year spell to do the online dating thing when it was early on. I mean, I don't know how early on it was, but I can tell you that Lava Life was the big one. And Lava Life and Harmony, eHarmony, or no, Lava Life and another one. I forget what it was, but they were the early ones. And I went out on some interesting dates. There were a lot of interesting experiences. And what happened as a result, I told you about me bombing in stand-up comedy. That was what turned my stand-up comedy around. was the material I got from those dates. So like,
I love it.
I mean, I won't go into too much depth on this, but I dated a girl who in the middle of the date told me she had scurvy. And like scurvy, like what I think of as a pirate's disease. And so there's a whole bit I do there, and it ended up becoming my strongest opening for any of my sets. And it all came from Scurvy Girl, and that's her name in the joke. But the interesting part is Scurvy Girl loved it. She was like this person that was like, you know, yeah, definitely use me on the stage. We stayed together a month. She came to see my stand-up like 6 months later and loved it. And she said, keep using me. And she had like a whole bunch of stories. But my point is, even that, like, here's the thing. You could say, laugh it off, but think about this. How many people from that joke escaped their day in that moment? Yeah. Like I told them that joke and they were like, I've had a bad day. And they forgot about the dreadful part of their day. So think about the gift she gave me by telling me she had scurvy, which to me was just like, this is hilarious. I can't believe somebody just told me that. And so what that did though, you know, for the bigger picture is that allowed me my material to look better. So instead of you coming to watch a comic who's bombing and you're going, oh, this is embarrassing. Now you're laughing and getting you out of your head and out of your day. So think of the gift that came from that, even though it's a funny, weird circumstance. So again, I think everything that happens in our lives is for a reason. And I think the bad dates give us something, whatever it is.
It's so awesome. And I think everything that we're talking about is so much around that positivity and the purpose. And when you have that mindset, you can achieve anything. That leads to the success. But you got to know what success it is that you're looking for. I mean, that is. And so I want to talk about your book, which is why you're here, obviously. Now, this is super cool. So I have many copies, Corey. I was so excited to get this. So here it is. It is called The Book of Why, and I'll put it up on the screen. You can get it here on Amazon Live. Do you want to talk a little bit about it and kind of what inspired you?
Yeah, for sure. And the book itself, interestingly, is the version that you have. And so I got to get you a newer one because I don't know if you have the newest one.
Oh, I don't.
But yeah, so that one was when I self-published it. And now it's with New York publisher, Morgan James Publishing. And James Redfield, who wrote the Celestine Prophecy, he did the foreword. So there's been changes from it since that version that you have. So I'll get you the newest one. But having said that, as far as the book itself, it was a book that was written over an extended period of time. Like it took longer than any other book I've written. And I've written quite a few, but it's the book that I'm most passionate about. It's been my baby. And, you know, sometimes you hear people like they come out with a new music CD. So I'll just say music CD because people don't know what CDs are anymore. But you come out with a new
what's
album.
that?
Exactly. What's an album? But you come out with a new one.
Do you have an 8-track on that too? Or,
no, I don't. But it's funny because I just saw a commercial for, I forget what it is, a drive-through place. And the old lady said, do you guys take checks? And he said, well, we take debit. And she said, what's debit? And he said, what's a check? It's like a conversation because he's like a young kid that doesn't know what checks are. But the point is yeah. So you know, a band comes out with a new album and they'll say it's the best thing we've ever done. And every album they come out with is the best they've ever done. Well, I'm not saying that. Like the book, I've had 2 books since this. This is still the best book I've ever done. And so this book has been, in my opinion, my life's work. It's been like 12 years in the making. It took me about 3 years to write. But to answer your question, Kim, what's different about this book is it's just written as a timeless book. It's designed to give you, I mean, I'll call them value bombs or whatever you want to call it, but it's designed to almost on every page give you something that could transform or change your life. It's written in 3 acts. So the first act is all about the why part. So how do you find your why? Why not you? Why not now? So we tackle all these things where you're trying to tell yourself, well, it'll be somebody else, or I don't have to do this, or it can't be me. I could never do it. So we tackle all those areas. So it's the psychological how to find your why and why you should bother. The second act is about thriving. So it's these 5 tips that we've been talking about, these 5 common traits or tips that the high achievers share. And then the third is enlightened, the third chapter and act. And basically that is about how do you do this all in a conscious way so you can sleep at night. So that's the core of the book. But I was about to say what makes it different is the way it was written. So I'm a fan of the old style of books like Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People, and these classic books that sold 100 million copies and impacted so many lives. But what I really dug is the way they were written in this style that seems classic and timeless. And so what I did was every day before I worked on this book, I would actually read a chapter from one of those books. So that I would actually be writing in the old school, like that old style of mindset and that old style of writing and that old style of storytelling. So the book is written in a very storytelling type style. I use a lot of name dropping because I believe if we hear names, we know it makes us perk up. And so because I've done so many interviews, it's not abnormal for me to say, consider this. When I was speaking to Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, he shared this with me. And then I'll share a lesson.
Wait, can you tease us with some other people who are in there that you've interviewed on that point?
Yeah, absolutely. So Robin Sharma, who wrote The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I don't think I shared the story in the book, but I actually did the interview with him with a massive toothache. It was the hardest interview I've ever done in my life. I don't think I share that in the book, but what I do share is his journey of being a successful lawyer, $300,000, $400,000 a year, threw in the towel to publish this book through Kinko's, sell the copies out of the back of his car with his father driving around delivering Rotary talks. And he ended up, talking about synchronicity, he ended up doing a book signing at a Barnes & Noble's type store. And only 3 people showed up, but he stayed there for 3 hours. And one of the 3 people ended up being the publisher of HarperCollins, who signed him for the book, and it's now sold 7 million copies. And I share that story in the book. So Robin Sharma's one I talk about. I talk about Jack Canfield, who I just mentioned, with Chicken Soup. Mark Victor Hansen, also with Chicken Soup. A guy named Mark Goffney, who's from San Diego and was born with no arms, but plays in a band called Big Toe Rocks. And he plays with his feet. He plays with his toes on the guitar. He plays bass. He raised his kids. He drives a car with his toes and his feet. Oh, and wow. So we talk about Mark and share stories of very inspirational people who other people would have said, oh, well, poor guy or poor girl. And they're like, no, don't pity me. I'm going to take on the world, and they have. So who else? Shalene Johnson, who would be known for Turbo Jam, and Tony Horton from P90X. I know you know who Tony Horton is.
Yes.
John Gray,
yes.
Fellow friend of ours, who wrote Men Are From Mars, and and on and on. I mean, I could, I've been really fortunate to get to spend a lot of time with a lot of people who've reached the top of their field, and it's not that it's about comparing one person to another, but I love being around the energy of somebody who has worked so hard that they've reached the pinnacle of what they're doing. Right. And really a lot of the people I share the stories of are people that started with nothing and reached the pinnacle of their career, usually in the top 3 of their field. Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, 600+ million books sold. I mean, I think it's the largest and biggest selling, what we call inspirational short story nonfiction book series in the world of all time. And they're easily each 2 of the top selling authors of all time with 600 million books sold. And so I say that, I mean, these are people typically that have reached the top 1% or 5% of the field. And again, it's not that it's about comparing people in terms of who's better or worse, because there's nothing about that. And I think we're all equal. Yeah. But it is about, to me, the idea of learning from and being around the energy of people that have worked that hard to achieve that much while also impacting lives. Oh, another one I talk about in the book is the late Zig Ziglar.
Oh, you talk about him.
And I got a chance to interview him before his passing. And then I got to know his son, Tom, and interview Tom. So Tom's in there as well.
That's so
cool. That gives you a feel for kind of a range of who we talk about.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Lisa Nichols we talked about, JJ Virgin. There's a lot of strong female leaders too. I don't want to leave the female leaders out.
Yes, as you should not.
No, 100%.
Right, no. And I think, if you everybody should get this book. I mean, Corey, I loved it, and I could feel the purpose and passion behind your book, and you, because it is you, but I think what I really like about it too is that there's you just have a really easy way of conveying all these things, and for people to kind of dive into their own purpose, just the things that you say. It's just awesome. And for those of you who are wanting his book, or you're just tuning in, you can grab it in the carousel. It's right underneath where we're talking, down below, or depending on if you're on your phone or your laptop. It's called The Book of Why and How. Discover the timeless secrets to meaning, success, and abundance. Corey, I know you have other things too going on. Did you want to just mention, what you're up to and how people can find you?
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to. So I know this won't be as relevant for everybody, But one of the things that I love doing, it's probably my big why now, is I love helping people become influencers. So, we're talking about people that are impacting a lot of lives. And to me, an influencer, by the way, can be somebody that influences one person or many. But I really get excited about helping people get their message out to the world. And so I've been doing that, as you know, with Blue Talks and helping people land branded talks and get on stages for a long time. And finally, I've launched a new thing called the Influencer Vault, which is a member site / resource platform, essentially where we do the work for you. We actually list the opportunities for people to speak and write. And basically I get, as you know, Kim, I have a lot of people coming to me saying, hey, who would be a good fit for this or that? And so now I'm actually posting them inside there. But then also we're giving you access to some of the greatest minds, some of the name drop people we've talked about. Basically, they're coming in live and we're interviewing them once a week. So our members can go on there, learn from them, and ask the questions in real time. And since you asked me for names earlier, some of the upcoming guests include Stedman Graham. We have John Gray, who we mentioned a bit earlier. We have Brian Dawkins, who's an NFL Hall of Famer. We have Ami James, who is on he's the tattoo show, Miami Ink. And so a lot of really uber cool guests coming on, and we're basically picking their brains about how they got their message out and how they found their purpose and how they impacted other lives. And so basically it's a member site that people can join and essentially dive into personal and professional development. And the idea I have is to transform people's lives, whether they want to get on more stages and more platforms, or whether they just want to learn from the best of the best. And so that's one thing we're doing. It's called the Influencer Vault. The website's really easy. It's theinfluencervault.com. And what's really cool as well is, because it ties into what we've been talking about, is I put together a bit back a thing called my top 10 insights guide. And all it is that it's short. It's a 2-page PDF. And it's the top 10 insights that I've learned from the best of the best. Bob Proctor, I have something I learned from him in there, who was in The Secret, Lisa Nichols, who I just mentioned. And so you can grab that for free when you go to theinfluencervault.com. And what that does is that then redirects you to the page about our actual member site. So you can kind of hit two birds with one stone. Very worst case scenario, you get the free 10 insights guide. So that's the biggest thing I'm focused on right now. And then Blue Talks is coming along really well. Basically, Blue Talks is like if Chicken Soup for the Soul and TEDx got together and had a baby. That'd be Blue Talks. And so we're now on Connect TV, Apple TV, Amazon. We're on Amazon as well. Google Play, Roku, C-Suite Network. And so we're all over the place now. And basically, if you like TEDx Talks, if you like Goldcast, you can come and check us out. The easiest way, obviously, to capture all that is just go to bluetalks.com. And then finally, if you wanted to reach out to me personally, just find me on social media. And the easiest way to do that, and not to give people so many websites, but that's speakerguide.com. At the top of there is all of my social platform handles, so you can just reach out to me and connect there. And I would normally tell you the social media handles, but I think it's easier to go to one website and click there than it is for me to tell you 5 different handles for all these different social media platforms.
Yeah. Well,
so take a breath, Kimmy. Is that cool for a summary? That's a lot.
That's a great summary. That's a great summary. Basically, you can find them everywhere, y'all. Like, just Corey Poirier, you're amazing. I just don't even know how you do it all. And you have your family too on top of it that you're taking care of. So it's truly inspirational. And I mean, I'll kind of end it where we started. It's like learning to say no to things that you can't do and know your purpose and why. But also, not accepting no either. It's kind of interesting. Like the no can be like framed in different ways. Anyway, do you have any parting words of wisdom that you want to leave everyone? And I was so happy that you came on.
So I'm actually gonna look up the exact quote, but so I'm getting ready to, this kind of a side note, but it's interesting. I'm getting ready to send copies of the book to some really big book clubs. And so we're designing what we're sending to them, like our care package to them. And so I said to the person, they said, what quote should we put in the front? And I was trying to think of somebody else's quote. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. We're trying to get them to read my book. Why don't I tell them one of my quotes? But it's a quote I never shared anywhere, like I've never typed anywhere until today. So I'm going to share this is when you said parting words of wisdom, it's a quote I share with her that we're going to put on the card that we're sending to them, but it hasn't even been put on the card yet.
Oh my God, we're going to hear it here on Sway TV live, y'all.
First, but it ties into everything we've been talking about. I don't want to build it up too much.
I love it.
It really is just my belief But I think it ties into everything we're talking about. And what I put is, if enough people could find their purpose, we could literally transform the world overnight.
Yes.
And so how do you do that? You get the book of why. No, I don't mean to show my book. But
just in case.
but you get my point, though. That's why I care so much about it, is because so few people find their purpose. But imagine if we could help just 1% more do so.
Yeah. Said from Corey himself, and we heard it here live on Sway TV. I love that. No, that's beautiful, Corey. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure. I know we're going to be doing a lot more together, and I'm excited to see the vault and what that's all about too.
Well, Kim, it's been an absolute pleasure. You know, I'm a huge fan, so keep on doing the powerful and great work that you're doing. And I mean, that's such a difference that you're making in the world by bringing people together. And it's not only that, it's also helping them get that extra confidence in what they're doing when they're out there approaching people. And that's a very scary thing. So thank you. I'll send it out to you. I'm not sure if you hear it enough, but thank you for all the great work you're doing for so many too.
Thank you, Corey. All right. Well, we'll talk soon. Bye.
Thanks so much, Kimmy.
Bye. Okay, wow. Well, that was, again, another powerful talk. If you're just joining, you are listening to Kimmy's Love Hub here on Sway TV. I just had an interview with Corey Poirier. We talked about how to create love success by getting clarity and purpose in your life, because until you are super crystal clear on what it is you want, who you are, it's going to be hard to know what to go after, right? And so we obviously talked about a lot of the inside stuff. I now want to segue into the shopping portion. And I'm super excited about this because, you know, a lot of times people have a hard time with style because they don't know their purpose with their style. They say, Kimmy, I don't really know what to wear. I don't even know what I'm about or what I like. And I love helping people get a signature style. And that is something that you can do, and I want to start here on Sway TV, Amazon Live at Kimmy's Love Hub to see how you can even start today in something very simple that you can do. So, you know, the first thing, I'll go through a couple steps. By the way, if you're just joining, make sure you click the follow button, say hello to me. Who's here? I know I was so entrenched in the conversation with Corey, I didn't even get to see all who's here. Sharon, I know, is still here, and Rosalinda I saw before that. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. And make sure you click the follow button if you're just joining. So the way that, you know, you got to think about your style, first of all, there is a difference. I don't know if you know this. There's a difference between fashion and style. Fashion is something that comes and goes. It's, you know, kind of the trends that happen out there. Style is everlasting. That's something that can be a part of you and all of you. And whether you're like in your own business and you're trying to have like a signature style and branding for your business, or whether you're trying to get a signature style for your dating image, it's really important to look at different elements of your style so that you feel confident in your clothes. Like having those signature pieces and things that are in your wardrobe that you can grab all the time will make you more confident in how you look and then, of course, how you feel. Oh, hi, Molly. Molly, good to see you. Yay. Really interesting stuff. I think, is this the same Molly that, well, I don't know if it's the same Molly, but there's lots of Mollys. Anyway, here's the thing. When you first think about your style, I want you to think about your body type. It's really important to know. I'm very scientific in the way I approach clothes. Just because I'm here in LA doesn't mean I'm this like cookie cutter stylist saying, oh, you must wear this, you'll look fabulous. Like, it's really important to know your body type and what clothes flatter that body type and what clothes to stay away from. And if you don't know your body type, of course, I have a way for you to measure yourself. Go to my site, kimmyseltzer.com, and just download my free body type guide. And if you're a man, I have a man's fashion manifesto that'll also go over your body type. So don't worry, I got both men and women covered. But by doing that, you'll understand that, first of all, it has nothing to do with your weight, what I'm talking about. It has to do with your bone structure. So when you measure yourself, you're gonna measure your shoulders, your waist, your hips, and that determines what body type you are. Now, once you know that style, the body type you are, you can shop for different styles around that body type. So before you even dive into a certain style, it's important to know even what looks good on you, because the worst thing is to look at a mannequin and say, oh my gosh, you know, like I want to wear that, and then you put it on and it doesn't look so hot. And it's not because of your body and that you don't look like the mannequin, it's because your body type isn't appropriate for that style. So that's why it's really important to know. But if you like the look and feel of what you see in a mannequin, you can get something that does fit your body type. So that's what I want to kind of like teach you all. So definitely go to my site, kimmyseltzer.com, download that style guide, and that's like the first step. Now I offer virtual makeovers if you want to take it to the next level. If you saw my closet ambush, that was just like kind of a long version of what I can do with you all. But not only that, I will help you shop and pick out outfits for your dating profile, for your life, for your business, all of that. So definitely go to my site, get on my list, be in my community. You can also go to my Instagram at Kimmy Seltzer. So here's the thing. When you're getting your signature style, you want to really pay attention to the different aspects of your body type. Now, number two, and this is what I like to do, is just go window shopping. And what I mean by that, like go on Amazon right now and just browse different looks that you see. And when you see things that just like appeal to you, bookmark them, you know, put them in your cart or put them on the list. You can create lists on Amazon too. I love doing that. You can put like, you know, your style list and just start collecting things that you really like. The third thing is, and this is what I want to kind of walk you through today, and I think we'll have fun doing it. And if you all have anybody who you want to do a shout out to, and we can kind of go over like the signature style, is look at celebrities and think about like icons or celebrities that influence you. Like, you know, with Poirier, I was talking about more the inner work of influencers, you know, high achievers, what makes them tick and what can you pull from them. Well, you can do the same thing with clothes. Like what inspires you when you take a look at a celebrity, or like the Oscars are next weekend, like what is something that you can see yourself in, or maybe take an aspect of it and make it your own. So I want to do kind of a fun thing today and show you how you can do it right here on Amazon. So we're going to start out with my celebrity icon, style icon. I have to say, like, this is somebody who I just think, I love the way she dresses. I think she has this understated elegance about her. She can get really dressed up and look super hot, and then she can just pull off a t-shirt and jeans and look amazing. And her name is Jennifer Aniston, if you know her. Yes, big shout out to her. So I want to show you an outfit that she has on that I saw, like I think I found it on Pinterest, and I just love. Now every woman needs a little black dress. Okay, so if you don't have a little black dress, y'all, like you need to get one, but you have to make sure, first of all, it fits your body type and it fits your sense of like style and lifestyle. So I wanted to show you this. I don't know if I'm gonna hold it up. You can see. Okay, so this is a little black dress that I got inspired by. And as you can see, it's pretty simple, but yet it's super sexy and sassy at the same time. And here's the thing, like you can dress a black dress up, and you can also dress it down based on the accessories that you have together. So I went on Amazon and I found a dress that was a little bit in the same, you know, kind of style. I'll click on the black one. And here you go. This is by, I don't even know if I'm saying it, Lillusory Women's Summer Casual Sleeveless Tank Dress, okay?
Double tap the browser one, that's the second one, the blue thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up, second, the browser one. I don't see it. Oh, this one. Oh, okay.
That's gonna be,
But that's me.
yeah, let me just,
Yeah.
let me,
Hold, please. Commercial break. Do, 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 do. We want to make sure that you guys get this. Because what I loved about this, and you'll see it in a second. first of all, super affordable. You know, you don't have to.
Double tap.
I'm gonna double, okay. We got it up. There we go. Okay, so what I love about this is that you don't have to break the bank. You don't have to be a celebrity necessarily to look like a celebrity. And this is a kind of dress that had a similar feel for what Jennifer had on, but you can dress it up and down based on the shoes. And I'm gonna show you some shoes that you can wear, whether you wanna dress it up or down. So yeah, what I really love about this one is it's, you know, looks like it's super comfortable. I also think it has elements of that really would flatter a lot of body types. One being this, see this cinched waist here? This cinched waist is something that I always tell people to look for in dresses because it emphasizes a waist. So no matter what body type you are, it can create a really beautiful silhouette in your body. So whether you're like a rectangle where, you know, you don't have a waist, or if you're inverted triangle, whatever that is. And again, go to my site, kimmyseltzer.com, to download my style guide so you know exactly what I'm talking about and referencing. But no matter what you are, you will look good in this kind of dress. Now, the only caveat with this dress is it is, as you can see, a high collar. Now, Jennifer had a high collar on and she can rock it out. And that has to do with how tall you are, what your breast size is. Like, there's all these different, you know, kind of nuances of a body that determines what kind of collar looks good. But if this is something that appeals to you, this is a great little dress. If you click on it too, you'll notice that it comes in all different colors. So you know I'm a big fan about color, y'all, but I wanted to actually show you a basic black dress because you all are saying, Kim, I can't wear a red dress all the time. And of course you're not gonna wear a red dress all the time. Although if you haven't, you need to, because having a red dress, if you are single, is super important in attracting men. And many of my clients know this. So, by the way, it comes in like this rusty color. I like this color a lot. I like this blue color too. Isn't that pretty? And when you have, you know, different, first of all, at this price point, you could definitely, you know, grab a couple, and a guy is not gonna know that you have the same dress in the brand. A lot of women ask me that. They're like, oh, I don't want to like get the same thing in different colors because then people will know. But men, you're not going to know. You're just going to know how fabulous your lady looks in it, okay? I'm just going to say that, and I know. I love this. Kelly green is super cute, especially as we head into spring and summer. So yeah, depending on your coloring, know your skin tone. Here's a red one. I like this red too because it's not too like assuming, it's not too, you know, tomatoey. It's the kind of like deep blue red that would look good on probably most skin tones. So this is, they're calling it a wine red. So yeah, check this out. I think that this has a lot of potential, I will say that. So, okay, going back to her look, if you notice, she also dressed this up. So I want to show you again. She dressed it up with these kind of shoes, and she also has a clutch on. So you could go back and say you did want to make this dress a lot more dressy. We would just go back and find a shoe, and I found these shoes. I like this brand a lot. Sam Edelman makes some great shoes. And I doubt that, I don't know what brand hers were, but I know that Sam Edelman is super comfortable and affordable, and it fits most, you know, people. And so that would have a totally different impact in that dress that I just showed you than if you wore maybe flip-flops. You could bring it down, make it more casual, right? But this is super cute. If you're going on especially an evening date, this will be a great shoe to wear. If you notice, it also comes in a lot of different, nudes are great, by the way. If you don't have a nude shoe, this also will go with a lot of things, especially if you're wearing like a high pigment color, like hot pink or even red. A nude shoe will look great. You can even wear a nude shoe with a black dress. But look at this. Oh my gosh. And so if you really want to go like va-voom and have something that's kind of sexy crazy, you can go with a zebra. I mean, that would be an eye catcher for sure. I know that a lot of a lot of men would like this. Women, if you are a woman listening to this, men do check out your shoes. They love heels. And if you are somebody who cannot wear heels, that is okay. I got you covered. But I did want to just kind of finish out the look of Jennifer, and then I can show you some alternatives. But also, I thought this was really cute too. We're seeing a lot of like snake skin, alligator, different kind of fabrics, both on purses and shoes, accessories. So this also, what I like about having a black dress is you can have a lot of fun with your shoes and change up the entire look. And also, if you're the type of person who you don't like wearing a lot of color, you can incorporate color and fun on your purse and your shoes. Okay. So again, you can create this look here on Amazon. That's why I really enjoy this whole thing. Now, if we want to finish out Jennifer's look, she was holding a black, it looked like alligator crocodile type of purse. And I found this one from Bethan. It's a wristlet clutch wallet purse. And really, really cool about this one, and I don't know about you, but like if I'm at a party or if I'm walking, especially now, everyone's doing social distance, walking on dates, like that's something that's very common to do. You may not want to hold the purse. So this allows you to either hold it, and you can put the little like wrist on your, that wrist loop on your wrist. And that will, first of all, just kind of keep it tight on your wrist. But you can also, it has a crossover, strap so that you can wear it across your body. You can walk with ease, hands-free. I always look for purses like this. And $21. So you can have the very similar impact that Jennifer had and create a signature style like her based on what you see just by shopping on Amazon. Right? So this is so much fun. I think this is a lot of fun. And if this is something that's not fun for you, that's why I got you covered. Contact me. We'll do a virtual makeover. I promise you, after the virtual makeover, you will have a ton of fun. Because every time people do like a makeover with me, or we do, whether it's virtual or I do in-person shopping, I'm starting to do that again. People end up loving it. Even people who hated shopping, I kind of create shopping monsters out of it. Okay, another cool thing about this particular bag, again, if you want to have fun and play with color, it comes in all different colors. I love the blue. I think that's super fresh, especially for spring. So what we're seeing in spring a lot popping up are these kind of pastel colors, real baby pinks and blues and really soft colors. Now, what I will say about that is if you're paler skin like me, that doesn't always look good up against your face, right? Because it can wash us out. So I say if you like that trend, now remember what I said, the difference between fashion and style. This is a fashion trend. If you like that trend, then you can use it in an accessory instead. Like I have a pink bag that I use all the time. I'll show you my bag. See, I love this color, like this blush color. And I use it as like a neutral, bag, but I couldn't wear that up against my skin because I would just blend, it would all blend in and I wouldn't have enough contrast on my skin. So this is a way that you can incorporate those trends is what I'm saying. Okay, so that's the look. Now, for the people who didn't like wearing like those pencil heels that she had on, I have a hard time, I'll be really honest. I can't wear those anymore. I used to when I was younger. But you could do any kind of like chunky heel that would work just the same. For instance, I've shown these before. The style's called a one strap. I think these are really affordable. Steve Madden makes them, and also they're super comfortable. I know they fit a lot of feet, whether they're wide or narrow. And you can get the style even in a higher heel if you wanted to, but if you have a hard time wearing heels, you could go to a low chunky heel like this, and you could wear that little black dress and you could still look super sexy and cute and a little more dressy than, say, if you just wore flip-flops with that dress and a jean jacket. That would be a totally like different look. Although cute, that's more of like a daytime date, I would say. All right. So we have that going on. Now let's go to another inspirational look from Jennifer, because here's the thing, I get this a lot from people. They say, Kim, I'm really casual. I don't wear dresses. You know, can I still, you know, look casual and cute and sexy at the same time?
Tap on your main one, the first one, so you get back to your whole picture there.
Okay. I'm learning how to use this. See, there's a learning curve over here. There we go.
Go ahead, double tap it until you see yourself there.
Oh, but I'm, okay. You see me now? There we go. Okay. So what I'm saying is, you know, mostly a lot of women are saying that they want a casual look and still look sexy at the same time. And they don't want to always wear a dress. And you know, look, men just love women who are put together. Let's just say that. But you have to have a sex appeal and intention with what you put on. So you can still wear like jeans and shorts and t-shirts, and they love all of that as long as you're looking intentional and put together. And there are ways to bump it up to put a little sex appeal in it. So I wanted to show you another look that Jennifer had. This is a recent photo that someone took of her. So this is something that I know she recently wore. And I love this, and I think a lot of people would like this look, you know, like when it gets really hot out and we start wearing shorts. Here she is wearing a t-shirt and shorts, okay? So how do we replicate that? And what makes it sexy? Well, obviously her legs made it look really sexy, and the shorts that she was wearing. But I found almost, you know, kind of the same look here on Amazon. Now, starting with the t-shirt, and I'll show you, pull it up. There we go. Okay, so this is a t-shirt that I found. It does not break the bank, as you can see, and it comes in all different colors. Now, I know that she had more of a scoop neck on. This is a V-neck. I always endorse V-necks for every body type, and I'll tell you why. It is the one kind of collar neckline that looks good on every single woman, body type, bust line, no matter what you are. So it's just like a safe thing that most people look good in. And as you can see, you know, this is a little more fitted t-shirt, which is also why I like it. You know, the danger in t-shirts is sometimes they're just too boxy and they don't showcase that waistline or that figure, the silhouette that we want to see. And this is something that's still comfortable and casual, but it's still showing, it's kind of draping on her waist. And so I really, you know, like that. Yeah, these are really cute tees. And as you can see, like, again, I'm going to show the long sleeve red, for instance, and this is like a different kind of red. I almost feel, and again, it depends on like your computer and how you're viewing it. It has a little bit of orange in it that might not look good on every skin tone. And here it is in short sleeve. I like this color a lot. This purple color. This is a really pretty color. I think great for a lot of skin tones and with many different hair tones too, like whether you're blonde or brunette. This is gonna look really good. And the blue is always something really pretty. As you can see, I wear a lot of blue. I just love blue. I think blue is another color that's very attractive and easy on the eye. And then look at this. Look at this blue too. I like this teal. I'm going to show you this one. That's pretty too. It's a little bit softer and teal. So, okay, so we're going back to Jennifer's look. She had just a nice t-shirt on. And then I want to pull up the shorts that I found. I really, you know, it's hard to find shorts that fall right. And she had white shorts on, and I really love these by Tommy Hilfiger. Like, these are the chino shorts, so they're going to be really comfortable. First of all, they're timeless. These will never go out of style, and it's a length that I think a lot of different body types can handle. Because if you go too short, not everybody can do that, right? Or if you go too long, it might look kind of frumpy and cut your legs off. This just seems like it can hit you at the right level. Now, it does depend on how tall you are, so you have to just be mindful of that. But again, imagine the gray t-shirt with these shorts, and this is simulating, you know, the Jennifer Aniston casual look. And I thought this was cute because, you know, it came in different flavors, if you will. And I really like this color a lot. This is a cool color. It's almost like an indigo black. And look at this. If you really want to get daring, you can go to green. I have a pair of salmon shorts that I wear all the time that I think looks really cute. And you can wear like a neutral color on top, but it just pops. Again, anything that's a little bit different can be your signature style. Like you can be that casual girl, or maybe you are somebody who wears black all the time. That's okay. But what can you do to incorporate within those black clothes or the casual clothes that becomes something of your own and that makes you pop? You know, so if you are somebody who maybe always has green on you somewhere, so you could wear neutral all over and then you always pop green. So that is something that's really easy to do. Now, what really made her outfit sexier, besides her legs showing, obviously, just as a dress would, right, was that she had these espadrilles on that were really cute. Now, they were, you know, higher end, I think. I'm not sure the brand that she had on, but these I found, and I really like this brand because I think it's comfortable. One of the things people always are asking me about is what is a comfortable shoe? You know, especially if you're walking a lot or you have more of an active lifestyle, you want something that you can feel sexy in and walk a little bit, but won't like hurt your, you know, feet and back over time. And Naturalizer, I cannot believe how cute the styles have been lately. Now, this particular part of Naturalizer, they're calling the sole. So they're very cushiony. I've tried these on. Really, really, I mean, you feel like you're walking on clouds, basically. So you could create, like, can you imagine again? You have the white shorts on with the gray t-shirt. You have these like neutral crochet espadrilles on, and you have Jennifer Aniston's look. Now, of course, she had a necklace on too that I'm gonna just show you an idea that you can have. But I just also wanted to share with you, these come in black, which I also really liked. Those would look cute with jeans too. You know, another thing that's trending is kind of the light wash jeans, and if you wear any of these, color down below. And here's a real, more of a soft white. This would also look cute. I just tended to like, with that outfit that I put together, this pink blush color because I thought it kind of blended together. All right, and she ended with a necklace that was had like, I think like a leather cord with a pennant at the end. And I found this, and I thought this was just kind of a fun way to, it's cool stuff, Anna Women's multi-layer pennant. I love this because it has all these different metals and different colors. So if you wear silver, you wear gold, you wear pewter, it's gonna go with everything. And I feel like you could adjust the length on this. This is a little bit longer. If you want it to come shorter, you just, you know, tie a knot. That's why I really like the leather cords on here. So this, again, super affordable. Look at that, $8.99. So we just pulled together 2 Jennifer Aniston looks for a really affordable price here on Amazon, and you will look like $1 million. And not only that, you'll feel like $1 million. And when you have that feeling, that's what's sexy. Because at the end of the day, and this again is always my message to you, when you love you, when you feel sexy of you, that's when other people will too. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, when you look in the mirror and you love what you see inside and out, and you know your purpose and passion, you know your signature style and what you're about and what you're seeking and looking for, that's when you attract that magic in your life. And maybe your magic is just feeling good about yourself and dating up a storm. Maybe your magic is to finally have that partner in your life that you want to settle down with. Maybe your passion is to just travel the world and meet interesting people everywhere you go. There's no like true definition and right definition of success. The success lies within you, right? It lies within you. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. Again, my name is Kimmy Seltzer. This is Kimmy's Love Hub. But stay tuned, don't go away. We have a lot of amazing shows coming up at 3 4:10 Pacific time, we have the Ab Lab with Molly. And then at 4:40, we have It's a Vibe with Shay J. I love Shay J. She has amazing things that make your body feel awesome so that you can put fabulous clothes on yourself. Catch me live here each week here on Sway TV, Amazon Live. It's Kimmy's Love Hub. If you want to know more and continue on with me, go to kimmyseltzer.com or on my Instagram at Kimmy Seltzer. And I hope to see you next week. And let's sway!
Okay, double tap open close, which is number 4. And here, double tap open close. Yep, double tap. Open close, open and stand by, you're still on, still on.
Talk to all your friends and your family. Let them know about Sway TV.
Enjoy the rest of your day and have a Tambay party.
Thank you, Sway TV.
Amazon Live! Woo!
Such a great time with all of you.
Shop attainment all the time. We in the house, we having fun, we doing the thing, we swaying.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway. Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's go! Let's sway! Stay tuned! Woo!